Urcăm acum și mai mult, depășim stratosfera și pătrundem în regiunile pline de misteri ale cosmosului, acolo unde galaxiile se dezvăluie în fața noastră. Vom face acest lucru cu ajutorul profesorului Brian Cox, cea mai apreciată personalitate din domeniul fizicii, care a acceptat invitația noastră. Puțini sunt cei care știu că în tinerețe Brian a cântat la clape și că are abilități naturale de prezentator.
The first thing that I want to know is when do you have time? When do you find enough time to do everything that you do at the level of perfection that you are known for?
The answer is that you're right, I don't really have time. So, but having said that, a lot of the things that I talk about in the live show are things that I have either done in research or things that I think about. So in a way, I try and make things overlap. So, for example, there's quite a lot of work on black holes, a lot of chat about black holes in the live show. And I actually have a PhD student who's doing some work on black holes. So there's some overlap there.
You have this ability to translate the complex ideas into simple terms for everyone, right? During your TV shows. And what I want to know is what are we going to experience at your Horizon show in Bucharest?
Well, I start with a tour of the universe, just to look at the size and scale of the universe. And the show itself is, in one sense, about cosmology, which is the science within which we explore the origin of the universe, the evolution of the universe, the fate of the universe. Cosmology astronomy raises deep questions, I think, philosophical questions about our place in the universe. I say right at the start, what does it mean to live a finite, fragile life in an infinite, eternal universe? I also immediately say that I don't know the answer, because nobody knows the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think those questions are raised, just the scale of our galaxy, the fact that there are 400 billion stars in our galaxy, trillions of planets in our galaxy, does raise questions about our place in the universe and what it means to be human. So there's an element of science, a large element of science in the show, but also there's a hint of philosophy, trying to explore those deeper questions.
In your opinion, is science going to save us or to destroy us in the end? Because, people are already afraid of the power of AI, and they think only of the destructive side of the AI. How do you see this?
Well, science, I mean, it's a question that's been asked for many decades. And one of my great heroes, Richard Feynman, wrote a beautiful essay in 1955 called The Value of Science. And he'd worked on the Manhattan Project. So he was clearly faced with this, the idea that he may have contributed to building the bomb that may destroy us all.
Yeah.
And in there, though, he says that so science is about acquiring knowledge about nature. Now, nature is violent and dangerous in itself, of course, as we've seen in the pandemic, for example. We face threats from outside, and understanding nature is important. But that idea that we acquire power through knowledge that we don't have the wisdom to control politically is important. And but he tried to find a way of saying, well, is there anything in the practice of science, in the way that we do science, that could perhaps help us not to destroy ourselves? And he said, yes, there is actually. It's in the basic fundamental idea that there are many things that we do not know. So it's the idea that we know everything, that we know how to run a society, or we know how to behave, or whatever it is. It's those kind of ideas that ultimately may destroy us. And so science, as well as providing us with the knowledge and the power to destroy us, may also be providing us with the means to avoid that, which is ultimately this humility. It's ultimately humility when faced with the power of nature, but also actually the perspective that science delivers. So another of my great heroes, Carl Sagan, said that astronomy is humbling and character building. So it's humbling, of course, we're a tiny speck in a vast and possibly infinite universe, but it's character building because, and I talk about this in the show, there may be very few places where things like us exist by which I mean collections of atoms that can think and explore the universe. It's a remarkable thing to be. And so perhaps somewhere in those clashes of ideas, those contradictory ideas that you approach when you study the universe and study nature, somewhere between our fragility and physical insignificance and our great value, because civilizations may be rare, lies the answer. Maybe that's the road to allowing us to get on and avoid destroying ourselves on this planet.
You're also a musician. Do you believe there is music in the universe?
Well, music, it's a good question. There won't be music if there aren't complex living things like us. So again, it could be that this is the only planet where music exists in a galaxy. So it's possible. I mean, music. I mean, it's an interesting thing, music, isn't it? It's one of the things that I do. So in the show, there is music. There's music from Sibelius, Mahler, Richard Strauss is in there in the form of Zarathustra, which most people know from the intro of 2001, but there's actually another 28 minutes or so beautiful music in that piece. Some of that in there. And the reason it's there is partly what I think Mahler said once when he was asked, what is your symphony about? And he said, if I could describe in words what my symphony is about, I wouldn't have written the symphony. So it's a different language that allows us to explore these questions, I think, or certainly allows us to think more deeply about our response to these questions that are posed by the science. And it's a language that, it's complementary to the spoken word and thought. So that's why there's music in there, because I think that it's part of our unique exploration of what it means to be human.
Am lăsat pentru data viitoare continuarea interviului cu profesorul Brian Cox. Promit să ieșim din sfera științei și a cosmologiei pentru a afla care-i sunt preferințele în materie de muzică și, de ce nu, să aflăm care-i sunt preparatele culinare preferate.